Well folks, welcome back to the workshop. Today we're starting off with a wee Hikoki grinder. I think this might be the first Hikoki brushless grinder I've got on. This one's from 2021. This is the G18DBL 4.5 inch or 5 inch Hikoki brushless grinder. Anyway, let's see what's wrong with her. Right, not a good start anyway. She's doing not a thing. Generally that's not good when it comes to brushless cordless tools. I'll get under here and see what the crack is. Nice big release lever on this actually. I'll leave that where it is for now. Clearly this has been used for the wrong stuff anyway. I don't know if that's cement dust or plasterboard. Concrete dust, and that can be, well, it's not the wrong stuff, but it can be very hard on them. Especially if you're not keeping them cleaned out. Does need to pull out. Something's holding it back. Looks kind of familiar in here. Maybe I did work on one of these before. That's why it's tight as a steel pin in here. She's a bit dusty. Look at the amount of stuff on this. Right, first off, we're going to have to clean this out to see where we're at, because this is a bit too much dust to even see anything. We'll have a look at it here first on the breakdown diagram to see what way she is. So this is never good to start off with. Rotor, one complete kit. So you have to buy the aluminium housing, the gear and the bearings together. You can't buy them separately. So if you want to change the bearings, you have to just buy them in yourself. You can't just buy them individually from Hikoki, nor the gear. That's a bit of a red flag. The stator will be part of your controller. This here boy, which is normal setup, but at least your switch is actually separate. And you got your body, but at least everything in your gear head is all separate as well. So you can buy all the individual bits instead of there. So if your crown gear goes, you can just replace that on its own. And your switch and everything down here for your lever, you can buy all that there, bits, the wee lever and the spring and the actual handle itself. All that's not too bad just yet, but when we start getting into prices, that's when things start going downhill. So we'll look at these ones first, 4 and 5. So €495. That's your rotor, your actual motor, your armature. This boy here. So if them bearings go in you, or the gear, you're basically not fixing this if you're buying it from Hikoki. Or if the grinder, the rotor or the head goes, this aluminium plate. If you have to replace them, you're not fixing it. What's that? £196 sterling. That's ridiculous money. And then the wiring then is 241 sterling for the actual stator and controller assembly. The tool doesn't even cost €200, and that parts cost more than the tool itself. You hate seeing that, but that's generally what happens with brushless cordless machines. The controller's always more expensive, or never worth fitting unless it's under warranty. But the armature is normally always a wee bit better priced than that. That's a bit ridiculous. What else is it? 16, the axis for holding your head, the spindle. £58 sterling. That's ridiculous. That only costs about 15 or 20 euro most brands. Open your eyes maybe and you'll see there's a mistake. That's not as dear as I thought. Pass load control pin axis assembly. This ain't a pass load. So this side actually has a mistake. Part number 16, part number 16. This is the part that actually is. That's the spindle there. That's better. It's only £6. My mistake. We've a mistake on the site. Everything else isn't too badly priced. Body's a little bit dear. The switch is available, but that's a wee bit expensive as well. £26 sterling just for the wee on-off switch. It's reasonable, but normally they're a lot cheaper than that. But still worth fixing it anyway. Everything else is just £1 or £2, so most of the other parts are well worth replacing. So this is always the problem when you go into cordless, brushless motors. There ain't very much you can do. So there's only going to be one or two things it can be. One, a broken wire somewhere. Two, faulty switch. If you can replace the switch, you can fix it. That's when you can. So if it's a switch, that's okay. But the third thing is going to be the controller or the stator. And they're just one piece. And like I was saying, £240 sterling for that there part. It ain't going to be worth fitting that. But we'll have a look anyway and see. So basically, quick peek at the wiring, look for anything broken. Normally it's down around here on the battery contact, if there is a break. But apart from that, you're getting to the switch or the controller. And it's all glued on here as well, completely sealed. Which is good to keep it nice and watertight, but an absolute torture for me. Or for anybody else working on them. Connector there, look, but it's blanked off. Don't know what that would have been for. Big massive heat sink on this thing, look. These are all your MOSFETs going on to keep them cool. That's a big block of aluminium. That's massive. So the main thing is going to be then is going to be the switch. And there ain't much to them. Up here is just connected on, so it is just literally an on-off switch connecting these two wires. And again, to keep it nice and waterproof, keep the IP rating, if everything's sealed on. Good for the IP rating, absolute torture for me. I just want to check for continuity. Does the switch do anything? If not, we'll replace it. But if it works, we're going to leave it because it'll not be worth fixing. Might be a switch. Right, we'll keep going yet. Wouldn't be too bad if it was a switch. That's also, if we can get the old one out. Because this is good on here. Good on, good and tight. One at least. There we go. Now, see if we have one of these. Now, I don't have this here switch in stock, and I'm not paying £26 for a switch, so I'm going to use this one. Different number, same switch. 373565. This one costs about £14.90 plus the VAT in euro, so this is a lot cheaper. There's not much difference in these here switches. They're all basically the same. So that's the exact same switch, just doesn't have this wee connector plate up here. So that'll do fine. Use that, but we'll have to change this over. So more digging to get into this. Just make sure there's no goo where the screws are going. As long as this is the only problem, because there could still be problems with the controller. But not know that until we switch it on. If you're not sure about these connectors, just take them off and put on new ones. I think these ones will be alright. I don't think there's anything on that pin, probably just for a wee lanyard or something. Hikoki love the wee lanyard strings and tools. I don't know why. I can't stand them. They always seem to have a wee pin for them. There we go. You just have to push it on. Now the big question is, does it work? We also didn't check the bearings in this, but there's not really much point. If the armature is going to cost £200, you could have changed the bottom bearing in that armature yourself, no problem. You can just take out the armature and change it. You don't have to replace the whole motor. But the top bearing, you'll have to press off that gear. And that ain't exactly easy to do. You'll need a bearing press and a puller. And a few wee bits and pieces to do that. That'll not just be straightforward. So this is sighted. So that's to match up to the head. Make sure you're right. We'll just go by the glue that's stuck to the side of it. Snug fit. We can actually just test it here now. See if it works. Not so bad. It's always a good sound to hear. This is why I'm starting to like the Hikoki stuff. They're becoming more repairable than a lot of other brands. They're still the same price wise as they used to be when they're Hikoki or Hitachi. Some spare parts can be wild expensive. Still worth fixing, but sometimes some of the tools, especially the cheaper ones, because you can buy the tools so cheap, the spare parts are too expensive, they can be not worth fixing anyway, simply because the tool can be so cheap to buy. But at least they're putting in the effort and they're making them repairable. They're actually supplying parts. Make sure we have that like that. So that should sort it out. One brushless Hikoki grinder from 2021, the G18DBL, that's getting used and abused and full of dust, up and running again with just a new switch. You can buy it from Hikoki for £25, or you can buy the same switch for a different Hikoki grinder that doesn't have that little connector plate for about €15. You can go by that number, or you can go by the Hikoki number, buy it from them. Either way, it's still worth fixing. That's a good one to start the day off. Let's see what else we can do here now. Now, once again, another Hilti machine. I know I keep saying it, but they still keep coming in. We don't look at Hilti machines anymore. We're trying to move away from them. But customer left this one on, so we're going to see if we can fix it, or at least see if it's a simple fix. If it's anything complicated, if we need any spare parts, this is not going to be fixed simple as, because we just do not order parts from Hilti anymore. You still get them, but just we're not doing them anymore because we're trying to move away from fixing this here stuff. So we'll have a quick look and see if it's anything simple, but otherwise we'll not be fixing it. And I think this one as well is actually from an auction. There's a customer that comes into the shop regularly that's actually left it on, so we'll have a wee quick look. Right, she's a TE500 AVR and she's actually running. Hilti, what do you need that for? That is just a way for Hilti to sell you leads at an extortionate price. Quick and easy to change them, mind you, but that'll be an expensive way to replace a lead. Right, she's running. Well, maybe that's an indication of what's wrong with it. Sharpened chisel. That looks like a 2-inch wide chisel, and she's all the way worn down to the nub. So why does somebody still have that on, and why has it been sharpened? So I guess it's this. Yep. Might be a simple fix. Chisel stuck in it. Can't open the chuck. See if we can do anything here. This could just be a bit of dirt. Where does this one come off? It's been a while since I had one of these on for repair. But I don't think I've had this particular type. That is in there. We need this out first. Easier said than done. Yeah, she is moving. Looks like somebody's been trying that already. Been cracked. So we know it works. But why did it not work for this? There's why. Nice simple fix. Clean your tools, you're not having a problem like us. That's what tool holder grease is for. Keeps everything moving, and then a grit that builds up like this keeps getting pushed out. So that's gone through an auction. I'm assuming it's an auction because there's a number on it. It's normally a sign that it came from an auction. So somebody's had this machine, couldn't get a chisel out, used it till the chisel was worn out. Worn all the way down to a nub. Sharpened it up as many times as they could. And they still couldn't get it out, so they just sold it in an auction. So, normally auctions ain't worth it. This man's getting out light. Clean out a wee bit of dirt. Now he's now got a working Hilti hammer. I think we'll just clean up the rest of it while we're here. That is a strong clip. Yeah, there's dirt on here too. May as well just clean it, leave it right. Maybe that doesn't come off, does it? Actually, it does. Right. I'll give us here a quick wee wash out and leave it right for this man. Might be an auction job and it might be a Hilti, but it's a quick and easy fix. All clean and a pile of bits, and not a single new part needed. Apart from a bit of goo. This here would have prevented the problem to begin with. Hard grit and grime and debris like that there just builds up and gets packed in. It's dry, so it just gets hard and doesn't move. The grease, tool holder grease, if you keep putting it in every once in a while, keeps it soft and more subtle. So even if it does get packed in, it eventually starts to get squeezed out as well. So it'll start coming out the front. If it's dry, it just builds up. The grease keeps it softer and allows it to move and sort of pushes it out. So if you have these things, make sure to use the tool holder grease or the chisel grease and prevent things like this from happening. It's just a matter of rebuilding. Now this tool holder has a wee slide on it as well for actually locking it on. You can't even fit this wrong. Now that way. Now look at it. Shove the slippery bit in. Here we go. Is it the other one right too? Yeah. The wee end hooks onto the plastic, and the wee chamfer side faces up to meet this. That's on there, and you got your wee rubber. Yeah, and your washer. There's a chamfer side, has to face up, the flat side faces down. And your big clip to hold it in place. Don't let it spring on your finger because that's a hard clip. I'll go down a bit further yet. There we go. And just bang it to get it on. Your sleeve and your cap. That's it. Even his old chisel should fit in now and come out again. Look at that. All because of a bit of dirt. Tool holder grease or chisel grease, lads. Make sure you use it and you'll not have that problem. May as well leave this in here for you, man, just in case you want to get a wee bit more use out of it. That's it. A Hilti TE 500 AVR. That's how you strip the tool holder apart, clean it out, clean out the dirt so it takes the chisel again. That's her. Now, a brand we get quite often, we actually sell these in the shop, but a machine we don't get on too often. An Eibenstock core drill. This is the 2-speed big Eibenstock core machine for drilling diamond cores. This is the HD. Not sure now. It's the 2000Q anyway, the 1700 watt Eibenstock. I think they do smaller versions of these, but I think it's the exact one we sell in the shop too. Good machine, don't get them in too often. This man says this one ain't running. Supposedly not running. Okay, might be just a lead problem, starting and stopping. This one might be a wee simple one. Actually, that plug's not good anyway. Could be just a broken lead on the plug. If she's not locking, I have to replace it anyway. No. It's a broken lead. Right. New lead, new plug. Longer than I thought. They're a nice handy machine, these. They're not too bad to work on, and they're not overly complicated. Some brands you get a big massive soft start speed controller on here, but it costs an absolute fortune to replace. These, they're nice and simple. Just a straight switch, no messing about. Simplicity is sometimes key, especially if you're just getting on with it. 1.5mm 2-core HR7 cable. That's what we want. There's another wee thing missing, look. Or not missing, just broken. Yeah, there's a wee trip missing in this too. Yeah, it should be on there. There's a doesn't need to have this, but seeing as there's nothing actually wrong with it, we'll just stick it on again. Will still run within a noise suppression capacitor, just it helps cut out electrical noise and prevents a wee bit of sparking, not much. But if they're still functioning, keep them in. It's just one side goes to the live and one side goes to neutral, and that's it. But there's meant to be a wee trip on this as well. Obviously somebody got fed up with that and just cut it out and wired it on direct. Just get the wires tucked on back together. I don't know if there's something else missing on this too. There's another wee hole down here. This one up here is for the trip. If it pops, you just push it in again and keep on going. And this, there is a model of this with a speed controller as well. Because I'd say that there is just for a wee overload indicator. Clearly there's not one in this. Again, unless he's actually taking it out, but I'm pretty sure this model doesn't have a speed control. Not much to here. I left the tool bag at home, so I'm back to the Stanley knife, the tough bolt. Don't have the wee Nipex one with me. Nor do I have the Weir crump. These will always do in a pinch. And wee draper ones are actually a great wee job. Basically get them nice and flat. But for a great wee just go-to tool. Plug doesn't lock in like that and stop from coming back again. I just don't reuse it. Just always make sure the cable is crimped in, and that's her. One Eibenstock with a new lead and plug. That'll keep this boy boring away. Now for a wee oldie, an old Hitachi VTV12. Not going to get much information out of that. An old precision or hammer drill from Hitachi. Well, that trigger doesn't seem very good anyway. Stick him. Right, not doing anything. First things first. Lead, brushes and switch. Switch might be a bit mushy, but it's no guarantee that's the problem. An old machine, I would say it's never been opened before. Looks like just a lead. There's a fuse. There's a fuse. You're wondering why I'm looking at other things, never know it's just a simple fuse. because it's never just a simple fuse. Normally when this happens, whenever I change it and switch it on, something pops or blows, it scares the crap out of you. Doesn't look like anything gone, so I'll chance the fuse first. This was the other thing to check. It's just the lead. Yeah, that's okay. Just eliminate the possibility. Now, does that cure it? It actually does. Not much of a fault there. Surprising for a tool repair channel. Repairing all kinds of power tools, all brands from all different people. Not very often you see one coming on, it's just a fuse. You would assume that would be the most common problem, but it's not, that's the rarest. Most people know to check the fuse. Obviously, this man didn't. But this is just a cheap fix. Now we've got a 240 volt Bosch hammer. This one is the GSH5CE. Looks old enough actually. Well, 2018. Clearly done a lot of work anyway. Is this going to be a mini service, a motor problem? Well, we got power anyway. Motor problem it is. Let's see what's going on here. Might just be a set of brushes for this one. Nope. Doesn't look to be anyway. That's the other one. Nah. Not brushes. And actually not a lead. Because obviously the green light's coming on. So there shouldn't be a problem there. Mind you, the clamp's gone for it. Cable clamp's gone. And actually shorten that up. We'll shorten it if we can get it running anyway. Don't think it's a switch. Very rarely is it ever the switch. Sometimes it can be the field or the brush holder. So power is coming in. Looks like this could be more sabotage or operator error. Why has that been taken out? It's just a disconnected wire. Can't be that simple, can it? Only one way to find out. It's that simple. I wonder if somebody's just playing a joke or something. Not even sparking that heavily either. Nothing wrong there at all. For some reason somebody's yanked out that wire and shoved it up here. Either somebody's already, well, obviously somebody hasn't just changed the brushes because they're well used. Unless they repaired the lead. Unless somebody's already fixed this themselves and shortened it and accidentally pulled that out, or pulled it out and didn't realise and just shoved it on them. Maybe they just sent it in here, or somebody else on site just messing around, pulled out the cover, pulled off the lead and closed it up and said nothing, just so that they thought there's a problem. I'll fix this wee bit up here now. There's nothing actually wrong with this lead, but I want it clamped down properly. At least whoever did reattach the lead, done it properly, and used the proper screwdriver, a T10 Torx. Normally get them stripped out. Keep these nice and short. Shorter the better. Need the cable clamp just to keep it right. And this is only a short lead as well, but if there's nothing wrong with it, I don't want to go changing it. There are no actual breaks or kinks in it, so I'll just go with the same one. It's just a tidy up job, this one. Reconnect the wire. Nothing wrong with it, don't make it any more complicated. Right, that's another easy one. Not often you get that, just a disconnected wire. Now, no, this isn't the same machine, but it is the same type of machine from the same customer. So we'll see what's wrong with this one. This one's going to be a simple one as well. Same thing, GSH 5CE. Well, at least it starts. But again, what's wrong? I don't know what's going on here. Unless it's just brushes that are worn out or something. Maybe that's what's wrong. Looks like they destroyed the bottom nut. So maybe plastic nut for holding the cover on. You just easily replace that anyway. It's not looking the best, but it is done. Brushes are worn though, especially this one. See, this is where this one might have been off. See, somebody just done that on the last one, so they can get to this brush and then forgot about it. It's technically the wrong brush as well. Plus, they don't have the wee lead on it for the red light. I can't see anything wrong with this, so I'm just going to change the brushes, put on the right one. It's the only thing I can see wrong here. Just give it a quick wee blast of the compressor as well. Now the other brushes will work, not a big deal. They'll just run on to the pop. The pin pops out. Just these ones have a little lead. The red light comes on to tell you when they're starting to go low. It's not essential. But the other ones are also about halfway worn out, so we'll just replace them now. Seeing as I can't see anything else that's actually wrong with this anyway. Finish and just pop that wire on. You just take that wire off because this wee spade connector is hard to squeeze out past it. So you just pull it off to get that little connector out. You don't need to touch this one. See, that's all it was. Somebody just changed the brushes and didn't put that back in. Maybe it's just a case they had two of these and he wanted to leave one in for repair. He knew one of them definitely wasn't running, but he just didn't know which one. We just left the two of them in because he didn't know. He just wasn't using them at the time, so we just left the two in. They checked over as well. I'm going to replace this boy now too, because I don't want to reuse that. You can just replace these on their own. You don't have to replace the whole bottom cover. Buy these for like €1. They're only a little plastic screw. Sometimes the head of the normally strips out in them, or they get broke or get lost. Now if I bother a new one, I have a second hand one, so I'm just going to stick that on. That should do the trick. Can't see anything else wrong with this thing. She's only a hammer only. She's not boring, so all it needs to do is run and hammer. That's it. She sounds smooth. The gears sound okay. Can't see anything else wrong with it. So that's just going to do. I'll keep them hammering for longer. Now, this one is not on the itinerary. This one's an Instafix, so I may as well just throw this on as well. Makita skill saw. This one is the HS7601. So I'll just throw this on as a wee how-to video on how to replace the lead when you cut through it with the saw. Customers had a wee accident, got a bit too close and sliced through the actual power cable. So this is just how you replace the cable on these here things. We quick and easy fix this one, just a wee Instafix. This boy will be back for it very shortly, so we'll just get it out of the way now. Just reuse the same lead, or same plug, sorry. Nothing wrong with that. If you want, as most people will do, they will reuse the same lead. If you're on the site, you're not exactly going to run out to buy a cable. It's cut through, but it's only cut through here. So it does leave him with enough to get him up and running again. But these Makitas only come with a short bit, so he's only basically getting maybe 2 meters at most. Better job is just to replace, so that's what we're doing here. Replace and get a nice soft rubberized cable that's 4 meters long. It's actually very easy to do. Get them out, flip it over, it actually opens up this side. And everything should be accessible here. Some models of saws, or some brands, the clamps here, the screws for the cable clamp, for any of the screws can actually be, the whole handle can be set on, and the guard's bigger, so you actually have to either get a wee ratchet and screwdriver, a wee 90-degree one, you have to take off the blade. Sometimes there's holes in the back of here, so you can still access everything. But normally they open this side, not the other side. This should be nice and simple. Neutral, it's just going to be a strip connector. Nothing wrong here. Live, it's going up to the switch. It's going on to a ring connector. keep your grommet, get rid of this. The cable, just stick to what Makita had, 1.5mm. It's a 1200 watt saw. I know it's only a small saw, but it's still a 1200 watt motor, so you would need 1.5. It's written on the old cable, 2 by 1.5mm squared. That's the size of the cable, and that's the type of the cable. H07 RN-F. Anything H07 is what you want. That's the good rubberized stuff. It's good and thick as well. H05 is just as good, but it's thinner, so it doesn't take as much of much abuse. Thicker stuff is just better overall. Just one little eyelet on this. That's just going on to your switch. Others just going straight onto the spade connector, or the strip connector. Just leave the neutral till after, so we can fit it. Make it the right size, cut it to the right size. I also forgot to put on the wee gland fitting, so we'll just put that on afterwards. It's easier to put it on before we do this, but I've forgotten now, so we'll just run it up the length. They're the wrong size, they're only 1mm. 1.5 I need. Snip that a wee bit. Don't want it too long. And that's it. New lead reconnected the correct way. And we'll just stick this back on. It's a nice slack fitting one, so it's not too bad. Sometimes they can be very tight and near impossible to slide the whole length up. You just have to put them on the end. Sometimes you have to put a wee bit of grease on the end of it, get it to slide on. This one ain't too bad. Read your clamp, put it back together and get the plug on it. Quick and easy to do. But let's face it, most boys on the site is just going to do a wee patch job. Stick the wires together, put a bit of insulating tape on them, if even that. That's the correct way if you're looking to change the whole lead. Just watch them wires at the bottom, make sure they don't get nipped. What are you, 10 or 12 euro for a piece of cable? Nice quick and easy fix, nice and cheap, and leaves you with a good log cable. Less likely to cut through it again. If you do cut through it again, you have more stuff there to connect onto. Can't get a quicker Instafix than that. That's her. That is how you change the lead after you've cut through it on the Makita HS7601 wee small scale saw. Now, another Bosch hammer and another 240 volt machine. Now this one is not from the same customer, there's a different man. But odd, with 3 240s in a row, you don't get many 240s, let alone this many. This one is at least not working. Like we say, corded machine, no noise is a good noise. So check the obvious one first. Straight for the brushes. This is the older one, 2007. Yeah, just looks like brushes in this one. Mind you, just change that bearing as well. Yeah, popped. It's a bit tight. Just pull them out completely. Yeah, there's a wee bit of grit on it. Odd colour there, look. I hope this is alright. I don't see why it's grey here. It is if it's burnt. That's where the brushes are sitting. You can see where they're worn. And you can see where the pins shined up the centre of it, where they've popped out. But normally here and here is just copper colour as well, same as the ends here. There's like a grey colour there. Don't know what that's about. Right, anyway. Doesn't matter. Change this bearing anyway. Get a fresh one on. Clean them brush holders. Put on a new set of brushes. That's the bearing. Just in case she's a little light. Just pop a wee bit of grease on before sticking this back in. Plenty of videos before on changing that bearing and that, so don't need to do it again. Just give it a quick wee clean. Make sure nothing's getting stuck in it. Just leave that ready for a new set of brushes. I'm going to take this thing out as well and just clean it. Blow it down now that we have the armature back in. It's very tight. We blast the compressor. Just get the brushes before I snap them back in. Just easier to pop them on here beforehand. The lead seems a little bit light. Normally they're stuffer than that. This has been replaced or repaired before. Now, all I want to make sure is this chisel does come out. Yeah, it does. It's stuff, but we'll get a bit of grease in that. Now, make sure she works. Now, clearly this man's getting his money's worth out of this machine, because he's most certainly getting his money's worth out of that chisel now. He's that thing worn down all the way to a nubbin. Just take a bit of grease in there so it's a bit easier to get on and out. Actually, we'll just check to see if it's jammed, because there's a little stuff. No. A bit of dirt on it. Sometimes on here it can get all packed out with grit. But I don't think there's been enough grease put onto this thing for it to stick to. That's her. Bosch GSH 11E with one bearing and a set of brushes just to keep it running sweet. That's her. Now, next up we have a Bosch hammer, a big 8. This is the GBH 8/45D. Now these ones can sometimes be an interesting one, because as we know from other videos, they're a wee bit prone to a few problems. Sometimes they're fairly simple fix, like brushes, leads, stuff like that, but they can break gears up inside of here, so sometimes they can be a full strip down job. And it sounds like this might be. Right, we'll stop doing that. Something seriously wrong in here. So we're going to have to get on the top and see if it smashed the gears. Pull off the handle. Well, no, I'll leave it on somewhat. So just having it all hanging off. It's not like the Makita, you can't really disconnect. Well, we'll all just disconnect. We'll pull out the leads down here. I suppose we're going to have to see what it's like down here now. pull that out. Get rid of that, free things up. We want to get this sleeve off so we can get to these 2 bolts and take off the top cover. So take apart the chuck here. Don't need to dismantle the entire thing, just get the rubber cap off on the sleeve. And take out this 1 screw. That whole sleeve can come off. So now I got these 2 side or top bolts as well. So these are normally quite tight. And these 4 actually hold the motor together. Actually see the motor's not turning at all. She is jammed. Yeah. She's been chewing on something anyway. Mind you, it doesn't look like the gears. Well, that's solid. I wonder what that's actually chewed up on. It looks like aluminium. It actually is aluminium, it's not steel. So the gears might be okay. You never know. That's the bearings gone, the needle bearing maybe. Suppose I don't really need to take these out. I'll leave them where they are actually. Should just split now. Well, should depend on what's actually wrong with this thing. That's what I was thinking. Might be the needle bearing, and if it is, can I get this separated? Normally with these 4 bolts removed you can just separate these 2 halves. No, they're not too bad actually. Stuff, but it's not jammed. Oh yeah. Right. A bit of damage done there. But it's free enough now. And those gears are not gone. But that needle bearing is totally shot. And so is the fan, I would say. The armature's still good. There's a little bit of damage on here now on the sleeve. There's not much we can do about that. Right, we'll get this nut here slackened off. I'm just sticking in the vise to clamp it. Hopefully if those gears aren't gone and this thing isn't actually burnt out, because it all depends now, did somebody keep trying to run this the way it was, or did they know to stop? If they kept the trigger on and kept it burning like that, they might have just cooked the armature. But if they stopped in time, maybe that can be saved. There we go. Nah, it's gone. That segment there. See, it's a different colour. So they just held it on there for too long. It's done a good bit of work. It has got a shoulder on it. It's not to say it's failed out of nowhere. That's been running for a while and running bad for a while. Yeah, that one there you can definitely see. It's just a different shade. So if I run that like that, that'll just be sparking like mad. I'll have to replace the armature and replace the air deflector and that needle bearing. Plus clean all this out and put a new grease, potentially even a service kit, just to find out that that's sparking. Wouldn't really be worth it. But even just to test it, I still have to change the fan and the air deflector and rebuild the whole thing, just to find out, and the actual bearing, the main thing. So even that there is going to be costing what, 80 or 90 euro. And then again, as she's just gone, you've just wasted the needle bearing, because you're not going to get that back out again, not without damaging it. So you'll be putting the new needle bearing into a broken machine, so you're just throwing away money. So I know that there's gone, and I know it's not worth putting this armature onto it. I'll price it just to see here, but I nearly guarantee this ain't going to be worth it. Right, now that, no matter what way you look at it, is going to be about 200 euro for that armature. Fine if it was just the armature, but we're needing more than just that. So the armature, and then a service kit, and then needle bearing, oil seal, grease. Once you start taking everything into account, it starts getting a bit silly. So you'll be looking at least 300 to 350 to fix this up at least half right. Leave it running anyway, and I don't think that's really worth it. So this one I'm just going to leave, because it's just getting a little bit too risky, especially with the amount of damage that was on it. I mean, somebody clearly did not take care of this thing. There's only so much abuse these things can take. If your machine starts running badly and rough, stop. There's a problem, and continuing to run it is not going to fix the problem. You're just going to make the problem worse. So if that needle bearing had just been replaced to begin with, what, 20 or 30 euro for that needle bearing, plus the bottom bearing, that's about 10 euro. This would have been a fairly cheap and easy fix. Mightn't even have needed a service. But now, you're needing a whole new motor and a whole service to clean up all the metal shavings inside the machine now. And as well, this one, like the last one, has a suspicious number on the side, which makes me think it could be an auction machine as well. If that's the case, I definitely wouldn't be putting that kind of money into it. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe that just means something else, there's a different name on it or something. Maybe it's just their own means of actually taking track of their machines. Normally when I see them with that kind of numbers on it, it looks like an auction number. And this week and last week there have been quite a few auction machines that have come through for repair. So there must have been an auction that's taken place fairly recently. It doesn't really matter if we connect this up because it ain't going to be used anyway. As a matter of fact, we'll just leave it the way it is in case somebody does try to use it. We're not putting the brushes back in anyway, so definitely can't run. But I also don't want anything getting nipped. It mightn't be fixed and it might not be worth fixing, but we also don't want to cause any more damage. Just in case there's a part somebody could use. Can you imagine the sort of noises that thing would have been making before it eventually jammed up? There's been no doubt in the boy's mind that is actually using that thing that there was major problems. So we can't be surprised when it's actually burnt out like this. So that one's not fixed anyway. Now, we mightn't get too many of these on for repair, but today we've got two. First one is just a lead. This one is supposedly slipping. Yeah, you shouldn't slip that easily anyway. You shouldn't be able to hold this in your hand. Right, gears are selecting, so it's not a gear problem, it is a clutch problem. Right, see what we can do here. I know from experience that Eibenstock don't actually give any torque settings for the clutch. Some of the brands do, but supposedly they don't. The clutch in this is just a, what would you call it, a jack shaft or a gear train, just the clutch on the end of it. So that's actually held down and tightened down with a nut on top, and you adjust the torque on the nut, squeezing down on the clutch setting or the clutch assembly to set the torque, so that's set from the factory. They don't actually give you them values, so when this happens, generally you have to replace the whole clutch mechanism inside, but don't really like to do that. I'd rather just re-tighten the clutch if possible, but this one is slipping a lot, so it might actually be stripped out. Be careful when you're opening them. Sometimes these machines can have grease, but some can have oil as well. Pretty sure these Eibenstocks have oil. So open them gently. No, grease. We're safe enough. So there's the problem. That's your clutch gear. The rest of it looks okay. Grease looks a little light, but it should be alright. That shouldn't be doing that. Now it can happen sometimes as a thread strip out in these things, but I don't think that's happened here. All you need to do to fix this is tighten this here nut. Problem is, what do you tighten it to? If you over tighten it and you're up a ladder or you're even doing any sort of core once you actually drill, if she binds up or sticks, she's not going to slip and she's just going to either throw you or break your arm. So how tight do you make these things? I know the old Macros drills, we had clutch values for them, or torque values for setting them. We don't have for this one, so this is just mainly guessing. So we've done them before. I'll have to check up what number we put them to. But generally, the way I do it is I just try to go on the safe side. And then if they slip then again for people, I'll just put the value up a little bit more. But the ones I've done so far, they've never come back in, so we'll just stick to the same number. You'd rather go too low than too high. Now, if you're needing to do this, trust me when I say you'll be doing it at your own risk, whether it's for yourself or for someone else. If you're wrong, you're going to hear about it, or you're going to know it straight away. The way to do this is just with a torque wrench. This is just a BGS one. We keep this in the workshop just for this here job. But it was for more so the Macros core drill, not so this one. Because the problem with it is she doesn't really go down low enough. The bigger version of this here, the 3000 I think it is, you can set the torque to about 15 Newton meters. I haven't had anybody come back to me after setting it to 15. This one, I would assume it should be a little bit less. But my problem is, this doesn't go less. This is the BGS torque wrench. It goes down to 20 Newton meters. You can go below. But once you go below 15, you've basically lost it completely. So I can't really go any lower. So I'm going to set it to 15 Newton meters. And hopefully that'll do the job. Either way, if I'm wrong, I'm going to know. If it's too hard to set too much, somebody could basically get hurt. You could hurt somebody's arm or could throw them off a ladder. If it's too hard or not slipping easily enough, they're going to let you know. And if it's slipping far too easily, they're also going to go back and let you know, saying it's still not working right. So this here is just basically guesswork. I'm guessing 15 for this. because the bigger one worked in 15, and because that's as far as I can go with this here torque wrench. It's a bit of a learning curve. If you're wrong, you're going to hear about it, and then once you hear about it, you adjust accordingly. So testing this one at 15. The bigger one worked out at 15 anyway, so 15 Newton meters that is, and never heard anything back on it, so I'll chance this one as well. So most boys around here, if they're doing any sort of coring, especially with hand machines like this here, they know what they're at. This isn't just an amateur machine out of a hire shop or something like that there, where they want it to slip a little bit more easily, just in case a smaller person is actually using it. Big men will be using this here, and they sort of want it good and tight so it does not slip, because they will be dogging this thing. So lock this in the vise and torque it up. Torque this here nut up to 15 Newton meters, and then just reassemble it. Now 15 Newton meters to me really seems too weak for this, but that's what worked in the bigger one, so I don't want to go any more. This will just kink whenever it gets to the set torque, or you hear it just click. That's it. You just flex a wee bit in the hand here, or you hear it click. Depends what brand you have. That's it. It seems very weak. It doesn't seem very hard, but the whole point of this is to slip whenever it gets too much load. So that's all I'm going to chance it with for now. If it's not strong enough, the customer will come back and let us know that it's slipping still, and we can put up the value then. But till then, that's as far as I'm going. And technically, the right way to do this is just to replace this whole assembly, because they come set from the factory. But I'm not replacing a whole clutch unit just for one little nut that's come loose. And especially when you just retighten it. Retighten it, you can take this off first and put a bit of Loctite on it as well, and then torque it down so it's less likely to slip, or less likely to back off again. But for now, that's all I'm doing. And as well, if anybody out there knows the correct factory settings for these Eibenstock core drills, let me know in the comment section, because I would really like to know these. These core drills, they all have clutches, and it's always good to know how tight to make them, because it saves you replacing parts if you can just retorque them again. Normally it's just abuse. A big thick person really leaning on it, they can actually handle it, and they'll just really lean on it until it actually starts slipping. Then they'll just keep going. Once they start slipping, and if you keep driving them, they'll just come loose. But you can retorque them and leave them running right, because I know with the older Marcus machines there was a set value. I can't remember what it was now. I'll just check actually. Yeah, the Marcus one, the DDM3, the correct torque value was 55 to 60 Newton meters. That's what they were factory fitted to. But for people requesting it, who thought it was slipping a wee bit too easily, we were actually torquing it up to 70 to 80 Newton meters. Much higher than the factory setting, simply because some fairly big lads were dogging them a wee bit more, and they didn't want it slipping as much. But we're only doing that there when requested. So this here, that would have been just learned as well over time, just like this one. So that one's set to 15 now, 15 Newton meters. Hopefully it's not too high a torque, but seeing as the old Marcus ones were up at 55 to 60, it shouldn't be too bad. And I must see about getting a better torque range as well, if we're needing to go lower, because I can't really go lower than 15. So he comes back saying that's wild hard to drill with, we'll know to go lower. And if he comes back saying it's still slipping very easily, we'll know to go higher. And just increase slowly, bit by bit, when you know, until you know it's at a safe level. But that's it. Now, can't hold it. She'll be able to take a diamond core and drill on no problem. But not any diamond core drill, no matter what brand, if you're pushing it hard and you're causing it to slip, that wall starts slipping more and more, and slip more easily till that there starts to back out. That nut and top backs out, and she just starts slipping all the time and won't drill at all. So you're just meant to feed them in gently and feel how much they're cutting instead of just dogging them. But that's it. If you have one of these here Eibenstock machines, the EHD 2000 O's and it starts slipping on you, it won't bore. Open her up, tighten up that clutch again, put it back together again, and it'll actually get you up and running. Put a wee bit of Loctite on the end of the thread so it doesn't come off as easily, but you don't have to replace the entire clutch assembly. I know a repair agent, if you send them on 2 Eibenstock, they will just put in a new one straight out of the factory. Not that it's going to cost the earth, it's not that expensive, but it is just quick and easy to just re-torque them up yourself. Just a torque wrench is all you need. Now, I'm suspecting this one might not be fixed. Had a quick wee look at the breakdown diagram and it ain't looking good. This is actually the first Milwaukee fuel multi-tool I've had on for repair. This is the M18FMT, most certainly not old, 2024. She's running, which says a lot more than what the last model was able to do, the brushed version. But she ain't doing very much. The whole head is gone. Now, this is more of an exploratory look at this thing because I'm not sure what the problem is, but I'm pretty sure it can't be fixed. I'll show you in the breakdown diagram why here. So basically on this thing, if we don't include the screws and the accessories, there's maybe 9 or 10 parts inside of this. You've got your body, you've got some of the internals for the motor and the bearings and that, but the head is just one piece. This costs over €100, so any of these pieces that are gone, basically it can't be fixed. So imagine the problem is going to be on here, so it's not going to be worth replacing that at €100 at least. Your motor armature and the housing is again one piece. This little bracket back here might be worth it, but your electronics again one piece. That's well over €100, probably about 140 or 150 for that. So basically inside this thing there's nothing you can really buy that is of any real use. Everything else is mainly screws, a little switch lever for the on-off switch, and your body. That there is probably the main thing you're going to ever replace. That's the actual spindle for holding on your blade. So if that goes, you can replace that on its own. That's not so bad. These are all just accessories, the box and your electronics. Not much inside of it. So we look inside and see what's actually gone. See if there's anything at all we can do, but I suspect the amount of play in this thing, it ain't going to be much. Does this even still come out? It does actually. So it still locks and releases, at least that's something. There's not many actual pins in this. There are only 8 of them, unless some of them have broken off, but I suspect that's the way they are. Less pins means less load going onto each one, so they're more inclined to break off. If you're not getting all of them, they can snap. I know some other brands that are meant to take the full round ones, if you use these universal ones, you can actually end up breaking the pins because the ones that are going onto are taking all the load instead of all of them. But we'll get in here and see if there's anything we can do. Now that might be 2 separate parts. The last one had a separate head you had to dismantle. Maybe this is the same. And they were a different screw as well. They're smaller torques. They're a wee bit dirty here as well. What is it? Yeah, I think it is a T7. Chance that. Trim it in. It'll fit in the drill, may as well put it in the drill. Now, what is the point of that? kept the same screws like the other one, but it's all one piece. We could have easily just had these all one type of screw. These things are about €200 to buy. That's why they're not really worth fixing if either of these things go, or the electronics as well. And there ain't exactly much in it. Has a nice wee fuse on it actually. That's a good job. I always like seeing these in tools. That's just a wee car fuse. It's a 35 amp car fuse, so if you're drawing too much, if you're pushing it a wee bit too much, it'll pop this before it pops the board. In theory anyway, it doesn't always, but you like seeing that. It's such a cheap and easy wee feature to put on. I like to see them on any tool. That's a wee slide switch you can replace the board. At least it's covered. A tiny micro switch on it. Even the speed control, you can't even buy that separately. It's all part of this. It's basic, but it has a wee bit better covered than some of the other models we've seen. It's not great, but it's not the worst. Now it's got a metal gearbox here going on to the brushless motor. Not too bad in that regard. And there's why she's got a lot of flex. Is it? Yeah. That's slid off. That should be sitting down here. Hold it in place. So that's just moved. There's nothing really there to hold that in place. I'd imagine that should be sitting down there somewhere. Actually, that's not really gripping anything. Doesn't even grab it correctly. We have a foam insert in this as well. I suppose the main thing we want to know is what's wrong with it. Right, we'll run this end. There's a problem there. The bearing is completely collapsed, and that is a problem because of the type of bearing they use. I've seen this problem with some of the Metabos as well. Cheap enough to fix, but it takes a while to get the part from the Metabo. One I done, it took a long time to get this here bearing. Problem is it's rounded on the outside wristler. Instead of being flat, it has a round profile, so I can actually push back and forth on this. So this is actually working, but there's just nothing to actually move it. The bearings collapse completely. All the balls have actually dropped out of it. Not a very good, because it hasn't done an awful lot of work, but then again it has been used for drywall by the looks of it. This is suicide on bearings basically. Nothing ever lasts, but this should really be sealed. And saying that, yeah, that's totally sealed inside. The dust shouldn't get into that bearing, so it has actually just failed due to itself, just be the lower quality one. And there'll be no race because this is open and the grease. That's wild bad that it's failed actually. A year old, the bearing's collapsed. Right, question is, can you buy that bearing? And the good old Milwaukee never let you down, or never let me down. No, you can't. There's the bearing there. So you have to buy it with this here whole armature and gearbox assembly, to buy all this together to replace that. And that is costing number 73, £87 sterling, so over €100 for this here to replace one bearing. What a rip-off. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try this with just a normal bearing. It's not right, just out of curiosity to see if it'll work. So it's around a 7mm inside. and 19mm outside. See, this is a spherical bearing. It's rounded this side. All the normal ones are flat. It won't do as good a job. I'm just curious to see if it will work. So it looks like a 607 will do. 19 outside, 7 inside. We'll try this, see if it does anything. Could be noisy, it could just break straight away. I don't know, it's not designed for this. This is designed to go into a hole and not be banging back and forth. It's too sharp an edge here, you see. But I have nothing else. The only one of these I've ever had to change before was on a Metabo, and I only ordered on the one, never needed to do again. So that was just a random one. So I'm going to see, I wonder if we can actually get these from Makita. Because it's basically just a 607 bearing. Check the Makita breakdowns. So yeah, Milwaukee, or here, this bearing, can't buy it on its own, you have to buy it all together. So Milwaukee only have 2 multi-tools in the market that I'm aware of, and the 18 volt version anyway, the brushed DC motor and this here brushless one. Makita actually have 3. So if you go to just a basic, cheap and cheerful Makita one, the DTM50, we get this. So we can just buy this bearing on its own, number 14. It costs a massive, too big, get rid of that diagram. It costs a whopping £2. That's the part number there. They actually tell you what it is, look. Spherical bearing 706. So you can just buy that separately as well. Other than that, you can actually buy other ones. So if I go to the dear one, the DTM51, same crack. You can buy the bearing separately on its own. So it doesn't tell you the size here, it's a different part number. So I'm actually going to order that and order the other one, and I'll order the one for this one as well, the bigger DMT52. This is a totally different setup. This is a much bigger machine and a completely different setup, especially in the head for the brushless motor. It's all mounted this way. Brilliant machine, big power, but very awkward to use. Number 26 is a different bearing again, but again, you can just buy it on its own. Don't have to replace whole heads, and again, £3. So we'll order that. That one's a 688. It's a very oddball one. So I'm going to order these things and for stock for other brands. I'm pretty sure that Metabo one was a 607 as well. So in the future, I'll be using these Makita ones because I can actually get these. But for now, just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to try the 607 because I'm not going to have these for a while. I'm going to have to order them. I don't even have an order to place with Makita yet, so it'll be a little while. So we'll try this just to satisfy my curiosity. But this is full of the bearings now, the balls. Now I'm going to have to wash that out, there's no way around that. Wash that out and wash this out and get a bit of fresh grease on, because yeah, look, there they all are down in there. Need to clean this. Right, so that's the easy bit. That's it cleaned out. The rest was just dust. Now the hard bit. Getting the inside race off of this here. I don't know how I'm going to get that out. as well. That's wee pickle fork that the bearing runs on. Not all that hard. See, it's actually wore on quite a bit there. Look. So that's not the hardest material. Eventually that'll wear through. But how am I getting this out? Is the question now. Now there is a wee circle up in here. Hopefully this will come out this way. So if I can get this out. And a sharper set. I'm hoping I don't have to dismantle this whole motor section. There we go. Hoping I don't have to take all this out. Hoping this just comes out. Doesn't want to. Wonder if maybe I could just prise this thing off. Put this back in just in case it all does pull out. Just in case I don't need to. Seeing as this is an aluminium casing, be a different story if it was plastic. Not getting a good enough hold. Nah, that's not working. It's not budging at all. We'll go back to plan A. Just see if we can yank the whole thing out. So this should be on a spindle. And if that doesn't work, we'll just have to take out the whole motor. Oh, it came out so easily the first time. There we go. Try this way now and see if it does anything. Nah. We'll dismantle. It's just that everything has to come out of here. This is just a 3-lead bracket holding on the field down here. This is all one solid piece. I'm not leaving this wire in because it goes underneath this foam for the light. I just don't want to yank it out. This is so awkward. Well, not too bad actually. Don't think they want you taking this out somehow. Can't pull the wires. I don't think that'll work either somehow. Nope. Has to come out because this is a replaceable part. This is along with the controller. It's going to be stuffed because the rotor's still on this as well, the permanent magnets on it. There we go. That's all she's doing, is that spins as we centre shafts offset. So that just goes around, oscillates, but goes back and forth. What is it? Oscillates. Just grabs that wee fork and moves it back and forth. So the question is, how is that put on? Right, according to the breakdown diagram, this actually goes in that way and this goes in this way. There's an annoying thing about Milwaukee. They show you the things on the breakdown diagram. The exploded view shows you how it comes apart and shows you all the parts, but then they don't individually list them. They just group them all together as one assembly. So they originally start designing it as separate parts. Then it's as if they changed their mind. But I think it was right to begin with. This has to come out. This bearing must be going down against this aluminium housing and can't go out this way. It has to be pushed down in here. So we can't pull it out that way. The armature comes out this way, but the bearing comes this way. And this centre shaft, this oscillating part, is actually pressed into the rotor itself. So I don't know if this will definitely come out or not. Right, I'm wondering if this is screwed on, because the rotor goes in this way and this is an assembly that goes in this way. So this is actually a whole shaft with the bearing pressed onto the bottom of this, and there's a circlip on the bottom as well, and this wee small bearing is pressed onto the top. So I wonder if this is screwed on. So I'm going to try unscrew it, but this is just an exploratory test now because this is actually gone. Bottom of the armature, look. Shows you how bad this thing actually is. Can you see that? See the wear, look? Shaft of the armature, look. It's completely gone. This bearing's still good. Well, not good, but it's not completely gone. That bearing's alright. The shaft of the armature, look. Just worn clean through it. So that's just wallering around anyway, it's not doing anything. And by the looks of it, it is rubbing on there too. Yeah, and rubbing down there as well. So there ain't no saving this basically. It'll need a new armature to fix this right, as well as that bearing. So I'm just going to keep going just to find out how it comes apart. If it comes apart easy, we might just stick one on anyway. Stick it back together anyway and see how she gets on. But first I want to see if this here is just screwed on or not. Yeah, this thing is just an absolute disaster. Look how soft this is. They've actually dented the shaft of the armature. That should be good hardened steel. Look, I actually put two flat spots on it. Now if you grab the shaft of an armature, especially with something like this or vice grips, you will do a little bit of damage, but you don't deform the metal, especially with pliers like this. That is unreal. That is just absolutely atrocious quality there. Oh, you can see the burr put on up there. Look. So now, it ain't unscrewing if it is screwed on. If it is screwed on, it's fairly tight and it's not pulling out. And I'm not wasting any more time in this thing. It's just an absolute disaster. If it was just that bearing at the top and you could easily, this here one, if you could easily get it out, fair enough. But to get this out, you're going to have to grind it out with a wee die grinder or multi-tool or something to get off the shaft, or else just prise it out. But that is just a joke. I'm just going to give this a good bit of force now just to see if it'll budge. Oh, there we go. After all that, should have just been rough with it. Right, just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to put this together again and just stick a 607 bearing onto it. Look. Damage out onto that. Look. And the bearing still goes on, no problem. That's how bad this thing is. Right, If you're looking at one of these to buy, folks, avoid. Just typical Milwaukee. They were bad. Used to be good, and then they got bad. Now they're getting worse. And now every single thing they seem to be putting out is just worse quality every single time. I mean, they started designing this thing obviously very well. They had intentions for it. But obviously the pricing department and the design department must not be getting along. Because money comes before anything with Milwaukee. These are designs just run hard and fast and die nice and young. And designed so they can run fast, but only for a short period of time. That's the way Milwaukee work. Where'd that other long screw go? Still on the drill. Right, I'm just going to press this onto here just to give it a go. Quick repress to put that on. If you don't have a bearing press, don't worry. Pair of pullers or 2 screwdrivers to prise that off. And to put it on again, just get yourself a hammer. It'll be no worse quality on that bearing using the hammer than what actually came fitted from the factory. I forgot to put this thing back on again too. Well, the other thing is, why did it fail? Sealed unit. Yeah, there's where it failed. It's completely open here. So they need a wee bit of a bleed hole here just in case pressure builds up or anything. But it's only a wee cap. Sometimes they put a wee rubber end on it. This is just completely open. Nothing there at all. So all the dust and dirt was just getting on through there and onto here. And then this here was a completely open bearing. That's a fine putting an open bearing onto something like this, like a gearbox, which is completely sealed and full of grease. It's not going to be any harm. But if it's open where dirt can get on, it's obviously going to destroy the bearing. So it doesn't just cheap out on a cheap bearing, but also cheaped out by using the wrong one for the job. They should have used a metal or a rubber sealed bearing like this here. So this is just saying all kinds of wrong. And I'm not going to put very much stuff under this because obviously it doesn't keep the dirt out and it's not going to keep the grease in. That's going to leak like mad. This is just one of the worst Milwaukee tools I've seen for a while. I can't even tell you if it's better than the last one, the brushed one. At least that one was only a DC motor. It was just a light lead that broke off. This is just bad all over. And the worst thing about it, they tried to make it good to begin with, then just must have given up, just cheaped out on the rest. Nope, that's the air vent. These as well, these are just a little piece of foam, and that's just foam, it's not even rubber. So this is never designed to actually run for very long. It's the head here, the amount of play that's on the head is me surprised the most. How's Paddy? Right, where was I now? Don't mind visitors coming in, but you forget what you're at then. That wire must need to go around that side, otherwise it'll be in the way of this wheel. That's in there, and that should slide on here. tight enough fit. That's sitting there, that's over here, and then your wee slide lever. That should hopefully be it. Still surprised with this at the front. It's not actually doing anything. It's not even fitting into the body. Look. There's just a massive gap all the way around. Unless it's just meant to be sitting further down to make a wee seal. That's just more than useless. Yeah, there's a little up there for it just. This thing fills you with no confidence anyway. We'll see what it does. If it sounds like a bag of cats, we'll not do anything else with it. There's no point anyway because of that bearing. So yeah, if you're looking for the Milwaukee multi-tool, be warned. They're not going to last past a year basically. Not at the build quality of this thing. Not just that bearing, but the actual armature shaft as well is too weak. Even when the bearings are good and haven't failed, the armature shaft still wears through. They made a half attempt to redesign and make a good machine. But then they just cheaped out and everything. Or maybe they just designed it to look good on the inside, but not be good. Milwaukee's very good at just designing things to only last a set amount of time. Once that warranty's up, they wanted the break on you, so you go out and buy another one. We've also got a new light to put up here. This wee cordless one is doing a good job, so I've actually got a long LED light stock from Amazon. Let's just try it as well. Because I'm not used to this one, I sort of can't really be without it. It's great for actually seeing what you're doing. Even leaving it on now when I'm not even doing the videos. Right, let's see what it sounds like. Sounds like a multi-tool. She's loud, but it actually does work. She actually has an automatic power as well. So she ups the power whenever she's under load. Look. That's her. She'd deafen you, but she still works. And for €6 for a wee 607 bearing, that's well worth it for that. But we'll keep the Makita ones on stock whenever they arrive to fix more of these here, and potentially the Milwaukee's, the Tabos as well as the Makitas. But I've never had to replace one of them bearings and the Makitas. It'll probably just be for these here Milwaukee's by the look of it. But for €3 for the Makita one, it's worth having in stock anyway. But that's her. But anyway folks, that's it. That's how you fix up your Milwaukee multi-tool, the new fuel version, the M18FMT. If that bearing happens to fail in you, hopefully if it does, the one on the armature will still be okay. But to fix it, you can either fit on a 607, which is the wrong one, or you can go online and get the Makita one. That's the number there for the Makita one if you're looking for it. 211392-4. Get that one, only €3 or so, and that'll get your Milwaukee up and running. But it would need to be a cheap fix anyway, because these things ain't exactly built very well. They're a fairly cheap design and they're not going to last you too long anyway. One wee bearing would be worth changing on it, but I wouldn't say much more than that. Oh yeah, and just one other thing, just in case anybody's wondering or thinking, this probably isn't that common a problem. This is only the first one he's had on. The very next machine I lifted is another one of these here. Milwaukee M18FMT Fuel. Doing the exact same thing. So yeah, this is a very common problem. Next up is a collated drywall gun. Now these we don't get on too much anymore now. And this one's been floating around for a while. 2006 machine now, nearly 20 years old. This is the BFR440 14.4 volt Makita drywall gun. Don't see many of these, and you don't see too many 14 volt Makita tools about, full stop. Luckily this man sent on a battery. That's how old they are, look. They just have the 2 pins. They need to have the wee safety pin for the 3-star machines. So this is the older one. I normally have a wee extra pin here just for safety for the battery, so it doesn't discharge too far. The tool knows to stop whenever the battery gets to a certain point, but there's stuff built into the battery anyway. This here, she's running. The customer says it's going in, or it's not setting the depth right. It says it's going in too deep. So these are used for plasterboard, and if you put the screws on too much, you tear the paper in the plasterboard, and eventually over time, over a couple of years now after you've plastered, you'll get the plaster where the screw hole is, it'll start to crack and pull away, and you get a wee round piece of plaster actually drop off, expose the head. As it happens, whenever you go through the paper on the plasterboard, the head becomes loose then. These have to be just right, set just below the surface, but not tear the paper. Let's see what's going on with this. I can get a spare spot where I'm not going to stab myself. I take it that's what he means. I don't know, that is adjusting. And that's adjusting. There's only a 25 to 40 mil, it's only a small version. It's definitely sinking them, and it's definitely coming back. Right, don't know what's going on here. We'll have a wee quick look and see. These were extremely popular back in the day, but you just don't get them on very much now. It's a bit worn, but it's not too bad. These ones aren't for the faint-hearted. They're complicated enough for what they are. Actually, maybe that is slipping. It should be fixed. It's actually not. Right, we'll replace that if we can. And we'll just give us a wee blowout as well. This isn't a very complicated one. Normally the bigger ones have doors at the front for centering the screws, but these are only 25 to 41mm screws. They don't really need to be centered all that much. That's just a wee bit grubby looking. An air compressor will soon clean that up a wee bit. Clean this, see if I have one of these. Right, that's for a bit cleaner. How do you get into this? This isn't just one part, it is a series of parts. You buy everything individual for this, which can be a bit of a torture. But I think I might have a body, or not a body, one of the plungers with one of these on it. So if I'm stuck, I can just use that whole assembly, because I don't think I have anything to do with this. Yeah, stripped out. Right. So this here's a wee metal cam. This is just a wee square washer for locking it in place. And this is what you're turning. So as you turn this, you move this cam, setting your depth. But this one, stripped. So that's meant to have a flat edge here. This metal part is a flat edge. The plastic part's meant to as well. That's actually stripped out. But like I say, we barely ever get these things in anymore. They're an old tool now, you don't really get. Now it's just a drywall gun with a wee attachment. But I still get them fixed, but they go very rarely. So I'm just going to use this instead. I can still keep the old one, clean up the parts, and just order in the plastic bit again. But I know I don't have one of these things in stock. But I do have a box of these. So I'll just use this instead. One complete thing, one complete kit. No, I'd have to just open it. Or at least slacken it off maybe. That should just sit in there. Tighten this up. And that's her. That'll do. So if you wanted to make this longer as well, it's just a wee bar here, 41 to 25. You can just buy the longer version of this. So all this is doing is to stop for this. That just hooks on there. That stops it from going out any further. That's your depth adjuster. If you get the one for the longer one, you can go out further. To reassemble that, just hooks onto there, that we dovetail. And your spring. Slide this in. Hold it down. Without everything shooting out on you. This is the awkward bit. I'll get this back together yet. Every time I try, either springs apart or somebody walks in on me. Actually, I'll do this other way. Lazy man's way. this not be easier? Much better. Right, that should be it. Tidy it up, should be running a bit smoother, and I should be actually adjusting depth. Tool's a bit grubby looking. But then I don't imagine this thing is much use. So it's just lying up somewhere. Where'd my strap go? These are just screws for it. These are just drywall screws just on a plastic collated strip. So they just automatically feed on. It's funny, these are fairly quick for this, but if you've ever seen the pros doing it, boys been at plastering for years, drywalling. You'll see they just use the normal screw gun and no collated screws. They literally just have a pouch on their side, in their pocket, with the drywall screws, and they can actually lift the screw out, put it in the drill, and drill it in actually faster than these here things can go. So the pros probably don't even use these anymore. That's her. Just sinking them now and just leaving them proud the way he wants. That's it. Just one wee wheel replaced in this and a quick wee clean up. Right, now that I've got 2 half jiffies, I'm going to stick this thing up. Got myself a new light off of Amazon. Well, I've actually got a pack of 2. I've taken this one up to the workshop to use here. So in the videos I've actually been using this thing. This is a Lucico actual fan light. Look at that. I've had this hooked up above the bench here, giving the videos a wee bit of extra light for the last couple of months. It's actually a cracking wee job. Great as well in the summertime for the fan, but for actually using, hooking on, big massive clamp, and plenty of light out of it too. And a good LED light because it doesn't flicker or anything. That's what I've been using here. And I'm not used to it now. I can't really do repairs without the light on because it seems too dark now when I'm working without it. So I've got one of these here. This is just a 240 volt LED light. Just a wee cheap one off of Amazon. I think this is what, 3 foot long or something. So I'm just going to stick this here on the shelf above the workshop, above the bench here, and give myself some extra light. It's handy as well because it actually has 3 settings. So you've got warm white, medium, and the yellow kind of light. So we can change the mood on here as well. So I'm just going to stick this thing up. Just clips on and you just stick a lead or something onto here. So I'm just going to put it onto a 240 volt plug and just plug it on down here. So I don't need any of this stuff, I just need the brackets. So I've got a shelf above and there's 2 brackets on it, and you're going to take out one of the screws to the brackets and screw these on and just click this onto it. Well, that's it installed. Couldn't be easier. And just the wire done. Luckily enough, I don't have to go too far to find a lead and a plug in this place. There's just no scrap one from the bin. I'll just use this instead. Give a wee quick fix for now, and I'll wire it properly later on if it's a good enough job. Nah, don't like that at all. These aren't perfect either, but they're a lot better than them. You have a wee bit more faith in it. If it gets a tug or something, it's not just going to pull apart. Wouldn't want a machine to grab onto the end of it or accidentally pull on it and yank it out and leave me with a bare live wire right beside me on the bench. But if it's any good, we'll test it out for a day or two, and if it's any good, if there's no flicker off the light, and there's good enough light off it, I'll keep her up and I'll wire it on properly, then put a wee switch on, so we can easily just put it on and off. Let's see what she's like. That's actually not that bad. Look at that. That is a lot better. Change the wee light on it too. So it's a wee bit too blue. That's better. Yeah. That yellow light actually looks a wee bit better, so it does. That's pretty cool. Which do you prefer? 1, the blue light. 2, the in-between. Or 3, the more yellow colour. I think I prefer the yellow. I'll leave it like that for now. I'll test it out here and see. It actually doesn't look too bad in the video too. Sometimes lights, especially LEDs, if they're not right, they can have a flicker rate that interferes with the hertz on the camera, the frame rate of the camera. I think that's alright. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Setting 1, 2 or 3, the blue, medium or the warm white. Now, first up under the new light is a wee Makita drywall gun, DFS 250. And this light's a great job. Loving this. Why didn't I do this sooner? It's a lovely warm colour. Actually makes the workshop feel a wee bit warmer too, even though it's freezing in here. Right. Customer says he put this down when I was using it and it wouldn't turn on then after. Clearly it's working. Right, now I'm doubting myself. Is that why it was left on? Or was it the nose? Right, I'll ring this boy and find out. Okay. Had to do a bit of research on this one. Yes, that is the problem. Will not switch on, he says. It's a feature, not a fault. Right, don't laugh. Because I didn't know what this was either. I had to go upstairs and get the manual to find this out. This here is an auto start feature. And don't say anything about your man either, because I didn't know about it, nor does Makita. This doesn't even come up on their site. Why won't that go on again now? So that there is auto start. So that is when you have her, you can just have it locked on. Especially have the drywall, the collated screw attachment. If you've got the head on here with all the collated screws, you just automatically feeding them on. You can just have it switched on the whole time. And she only runs whenever you press her down. So that is what that is. It's nothing to do with the drill. He must have just accidentally hit the button when he's putting it down, and I switched it onto the auto start mode. So there's nothing wrong with her. She's a feature, not a fault. I thought it might have been the head then, but it's not. But I had to go upstairs and actually get the manual for this one and figure out what this button was for. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure of it myself. I went onto the Makita website and they're talking about the spec and the features. They don't mention anything about this here auto start. So not good in Makita for not explaining it well either. So we had to look up the manual to find out what that there thing's for. But this thing, nothing wrong with it. You must be using the collated attachment. That's why this here's all missing. He still has the head for it. So this wee Makita, the 250, nothing wrong with it. Now, next up, I've got a wee Makita cordless jigsaw. We'll do these in different light settings too to see which one we like. So this one was the warm light. This one will be the medium. Instant difference, but sort of get used to it fairly quick. Right, we'll see what this is like. This man says blade toggle. Ah, right. Thought he was on about this. Right, let's see what we can do here. Get the blade holder works. Just these are replaceable as well. You can just swap them out if they do go bad. Yeah. Right, see what we can do with this one. Oh, that's tight. Maybe there is something wrong with this. What the hell? That one might need a wee bit of WD. Very stiff. I have to stick that in the vise to get it out. Now the light here looks great for me doing the repair, but maybe it's not great in the camera. Maybe it's making too much shadows underneath or something. I'll not know till I actually start editing it and looking back at the video. We'll try it out here for now anyway. Yeah, take this side as well. Standard wee gearbox for a brushless machine, but they always had a tiny little motor, way smaller than what you expect, but a lot actually packed into it, and a really good decent switch on it. You'd think these just have a wee micro switch, seeing as it's a brushless motor, but it's not. The tool holder, done a video on it, that just lifts out, and there's two screws the other side if you want to replace this, but I think this one will get away with about a WD-40. Right, see what's happened here now. It's a wee bit more awkward. It's actually the body that's broken. Just put this back on so everything just doesn't fall out on me. There's a wee tab here, to stop it from going the whole way around. There was one here too, so that's actually broken off. This ran the whole way around until a little pin and spring fell out of this side. So it's actually the body we need to replace in this thing. Right, new body for this thing is about 20 or 25 euro, but I don't want to put a new body in just for this, so I'm going to see if I can just do a wee patch job on it. This is one of the older models, the 4329, an old corded one. I'm going to use that for a couple of bits and pieces out of it. I just want to make sure the rest of the inside of this one's okay before I put it back together. Of course, how did one screw get tight? also just want to make sure this here isn't too tight. A lot of pressure in that. I suppose that's the way it is. Yeah, so that's still working. What way does that go on? What pan out? Strap that on. Don't think there's anything else wrong with us. Everything else looks okay. Right, we'll do a wee patch job. Should be able to get to the other side now once this is back together. Nice wee jigsaw these actually. Nice wee motor, nice and quiet and comfortable to use. Nobody likes the soft start though. Everybody always puts it off, and everybody who buys them in the shop always asks me to disengage it. But as long as you know how to turn it off, you can just go straight onto normal speed. So it's not too bad that they give you that option. Not the biggest of motors, but they're nice and small and easy to use. That's a very good design feature. Of course, there's one more. So this here just ain't the best of designs. As you can see, this here one, it's just a cheap and cheerful one. It's actually recessed into the body, so it definitely cannot come out. This was just relying on these here two pieces of the body. They should have bulked that up, expanded the whole thing out around here, so there's no way that can come out. Bad knock, or somebody actually being a wee bit cheeky could just take their chisel and slice them off just really to annoy you. If you wanted somebody's having a falling out with you. Right, underneath this is a wee spring. I'm just going to do exactly that actually. Oof, that's tight. Same parts that's on this as on this. Not the same lever, but the same wee ball and spring. And this is scrap. The gears are completely worn out of this. I think this is actually the one I used to use. I was doing work for my father-in-law as does shepherd huts. I used to cut out the rubs for him. Pretty sure this is the same one. But one of those models anyway, and it done an awful lot of work. Till eventually the gears just wore completely out of it. This is not to give anybody any ideas. Don't do this to your enemies. So that's how the other one came out. It went round too far, and he lost these. So I don't need that. And with this all the way around still, I might be able to get them back in without dismantling the whole thing. Try just squeeze them back in and then fix it. That's if it'll work. Maybe the spring's still in there. Yeah, it actually is. So it's only the wee ball, and he didn't need to do that at all. I could have just broke a bearing to get one of these here balls. There we go. So I'm just going to do a wee patch job on this. So all I actually need is just something to go onto here to stop this spinning round. And I just want it the right colour. So what I'm going to use is another piece of this old one. Literally just cut a piece of plastic off. You could literally screw a nut onto it, a wee piece of metal, glue something on. Even a wee bit of hot glue on here would stop this from going around. You just want to stop it from going up here, the rest of it's still actually functioning. So I'm just going to use this to make it match. To help put it on, I'm actually just going to use a soldering iron. Now I have the new one from Milwaukee in the workshop, but I'm not using this thing. I'm keeping that good. I'm going to use the old one, because this doesn't need to be a clean job. Now, will this work actually? No, I don't think it will. I'm not going to get that. Maybe I have to do two. Put it onto there. Just see if we can get it melted on. You can also just replace the body. There's a lot more stripping on that. This is just a wee quick fix. It's just to stop it spinning past that point. This is going to be a worker in a factory. They're not going to be too concerned. As long as it stops that lever and it doesn't block it from getting into that position, it's fine. That'll do the job, I think. That one's straighter though. That's better. Keep that as well. Actually, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a good job I didn't change it. It was the lever being all the way down, pushing this too far forward. So that pushes it forward for changing modes. But if it's too far back, it's actually putting too much tension on it and it's sort of bending it. It made it very difficult to get out. That lever fixed. It just pops clean out. So that's it. One wee fix. Fixed the two problems. With an old broken Makita jigsaw, but then two wee parts would easily cost, what, €1 or €2, and just a wee piece of plastic to hold it on. That's a wee quick fix on the Makita DJV184 18V brushless cordless jigsaw. Now, last one for today, and the last light setting to try out is going to be on the Makita 1/4 inch router. This is the 3620. One we've done several times before. What are we going to do now? Cool white. Looks a lot darker, but we'll adjust. So this one is saying bearings, check, and shaky base. Right, there's not much we can do about the shaky base in this thing. Otherwise we'd be replacing the whole housing. So you've got to play in that there. It's only a 1/4 inch router, you really don't need it all that accurate. It's not the type of thing you're going to be using for accurate work. It's also going to need a lead as well. It's cracked there. See if we can get this done as quick as possible because it's coming close to 6 o'clock to finish up on this one. Right, bearings it is. Remove the lever, leave on your special nut if you can. I'll just get that pulled apart. So 2 bearings, they go into this. That'll quieten it down. I'll also change that lead. Change it or shorten it. Pull them out and just yank. It's not even too bad on the inside. I thought it would have been worse. Brushes are okay too. Lift that up, pull out your armature. There's our problems. So this is one we've done plenty of times before. Not much to these, but they're a great wee router. And they're well worth fixing up, especially if it's only bearings you need. Give it a quick wee blow down and we'll change these bearings. I'll also just clean out in here. That's we're cleaned out. We'll just get these bearings off. Now this I keep getting asked about. These here bearing pullers, somebody else's message in a comment there not so long ago. Same thing. What are they called? Where do you get them? So this brand is Skis. Don't know how to say that name. Stock number 082150. These actual proper ones, these are the main branded ones. These are expensive. But they're very good. But for anybody who's not got an awful lot of work to do, you don't need the big expensive ones. You can actually get these here or similar ones on Amazon. So if you go on Amazon and type in 3-leg micro bearing puller, you'll get these here. I think there's a laser brand or something like that there they do. The exact same thing, work the exact same way. Or if you're in Ireland or the UK, if you ever heard of a brand called BGS, look them up. They do a set as well. They cost about 70 or 80 euro. But well worth having because for a wee job like this, they're wild quick and easy for removing bearings. That one is tight. So we got a 608 and a 6003. So let me know in the comment section, folks, about the light. Maybe it's just too bright. I'll not know to look back at the video when I'm editing it. But let me know what you think. Is it too bright? Does it do a good job? Does it make too much of a shadow? And if it's any good, let me know what sort of light colour to put on. The warm white, the medium, or the bright blue one. This one here. This is the cool white. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you want me to keep it on? Or which one do you want? I'll just press these on the bearing press. So that's our bearings. Get them on first, and then we'll just do this lead. I think that's all we need to, or really can do, on this one here. You're seeing the rails are a wee bit slack as well, but that's just all on this housing. And it's not even all that badly worn. I do even think if I change the housing, would he get much less play in it. I don't think the rails themselves are going to be worn. It's just here starts to wear on. And the next thing is just this. It's not gone or anything, but it was all cracked. What year is this thing? Still dust on here. Look, we'll just blow that out again. She's actually a 2006 machine, nearly 20 years old. Lead's not doing too bad for that age. Obviously when they get older, they get more brittle and start to crack. So it's cracking here, it's going to crack eventually again. I might just move the lead up. Get a better screwdriver, there we go. pull that out. Take this off. It's been stored, some are damp too. Wee bit of green death starting there. The clock's ticking faster the closer it gets to 6. I don't want to be late for my dinner. I'm going to go as quick as I can here. Stick that in there. Neutral on here. It's better. Put that in there, that beside it. Nearly done. A little bit of slacking along with it. Slide on your grommet. And clamp her down. There's the heating system knocked off. In other words, they're locking up upstairs and I'm still down here. Go quicker, go quicker. Go faster, it'll be locked on. I'm down in here in the basement. If I ain't up, they'll just lock up. Right. I guess that's just about good to go. Don't forget the collet and the nut. Of course it had to be stiff. Turn that around a wee bit to get it to run better. That's better. It's going very quiet up there. Nice one. That's it. Last one for today. Makita quarter-inch jig or quarter-inch router, the 3620. Anyway, folks, that's me for the day. I'm way home with that. That's all the tools we have time for today. Let me know in the comments section what you think of the lights. Are they too bright? Let me know the colour if they're all right. If they're no good, we'll change them. They're actually nice on the bench as well. So even if they don't work, I might get something different and put them across the whole bench, because it's actually really nice to work here with the bench all lit up like this. If you don't like them, I try something different, maybe dimmable to put the lights down, but let me know in the comment section. Do they work? Yes or no? But till next time, folks, thanks for watching. As always, hope you're enjoying the videos. you're liking them, make sure to give us a wee like and a follow down below. But till next time, folks, I'll chat to you later. Cheers!